What up, Brawlers? Welcome back to the Tabletop Never Stop. We're continuing our ongoing series, Know Your Champions, and today we're talking about Deryn, the Huntress of Eastwood. One caveat that I should mention is that these are being made in a time like well before the game is retail released. There's changes happening all the time to the cards. In fact, the cards you're about to see are not what they're going to look like in the end because the Mythic is going to have each of these cards have different art. And so these are still prototype cards, and they are changing fairly regularly. These cards are taken from Tabletopia, the game platform, and they actually changed well. I was filming this video, I had to redo it actually because several of them changed. So if the cards change so much that this video becomes kind of irrelevant, then I'll reshoot it. That's sort of the plan going forward. Anyway, enjoy the video. So Deryn, 0 defense, 7 health champion. High mobility, long range damage dealer. So leveling her up doesn't technically change her stats, but she does gain Deryn does not activate traps and gains +2 defense whilst on a trapped hex. So cool level of ability. +2 defense is really good. Actually makes her as good as leveled up Deryn, stat wise. And of course, the fact that you only get this defense when you're on a trap means that it's not usable all the time, but I actually think this is a really cool ability, even from like a game design standpoint. If I was to complain about Super Fantasy Brawl, I would probably say the traps are a little boring. Kind of not so much even conceptually, but it's just the more like the setup and how they play out. Because what happens is a challenge is revealed. You and your opponent see, oh, the blue statue is going to be important here in the beginning of the game, and so you both put your traps right next to the blue statue on both sides of it. And Deryn really kind of shakes that up because you might not want to put traps near the blue statue if you know Deryn can use them. And just having a character that interacts with the traps is really interesting. She has 3 other cards beyond just her power-up ability that interact with these traps. And I think it's just a really cool design space for the game to be in. And speaking of cards that interact with traps, here we are immediately with Heavy Shot. It's a red core attack, movement of 2, straight line range from 2 and 3. And it does 3 damage. And then after the attack, if Deryn is on a trap hex, push 2. So here's a sort of perfect scenario for Heavy Shot. Deryn is here in the red zone and shooting at Gwen. She's within range, so she's going to do 3 damage, and then she's going to do 2 additional push damage because of the statue here. It's worth noting the only trap hexes that are in a control zone is red, so Deryn kind of favors the red area, especially when she's leveled up, she can get her bonuses. Obviously, this card can be used other places. Hunter's Quarry is another red core attack. It's a movement 2 and range of 4 in a straight line, which is good because you can hit from far away, but straight line attacks at that range are possibly difficult to manufacture. Switching back to Tabletopia real quick, you'll see there's like not that many straight avenues. And this is even before we put in other champions blocking lines of sight. So anyway, speed 2 for range 4 straight line. The next attack on this target ignores defense and gains +1 damage. So mainly this is a way to get through defense. This would work really well on double and poison strikes. Of course, Deryn doesn't have any, but you mark the target and then a character that does have poison or double comes in and does additional damage. Actually, both of those parts, ignoring defense and boosting it, actually works really, really well. The other thing I would pair this with is abilities that have an after effect that triggers only if damage is dealt. There's a lot of those, like Blizzard on Deryn, for example, but there's plenty more. So if you need to get damage, if you need a guarantee you can get damage through to trigger an after attack ability, then that's another great use for Hunter's Quarry. Prowl, blue core, movement of 2, draw 1, plan 1, and then you may look at a trap token and then place it on any free trap hex. So this isn't a big play maker, but it could help you set up for later. Obviously, drawing 2 and planning 1 is way better than just taking a standard blue action to move 1 and plan 1. To be honest, not that impressed with the looking at the trap token. Not that that information couldn't be useful, but probably won't be that useful. Also, getting to place it somewhere is cool, but if we switch back to Tabletopia, in a scenario like this where all 6 trap hexes are covered, getting to look at one, I mean, cool, but it's not like I get to place it anywhere. Ambush. This is Deryn's reaction. Grants +1 armor, and then after the attack, you place Deryn adjacent to the attacker. So this reaction isn't amazing at defending, really. I mean, not that +1 armor isn't nothing, but it's not that much. But this is repositioning your champions on the enemy's turn, and that is one of the best abilities in the game. Let's look at Tabletopia real quick. Obviously, there's a million different scenarios where you could use ambush. Here's just a quick example. Let's say one of the objectives is control both deployment zones. So enemy Gawain comes over here and shoots Flame Spear at our Deryn. But you play ambush as a reaction. Maybe Deryn's still even killed, but you can put Deryn adjacent to Gwen, and then we are now scoring both deployment zones on the board. And since you're doing this on the enemy's turn, if this was the last core, there was nothing the enemy can even do to stop you from scoring this at the start of your turn. And that's a really powerful ability to be able to swoop in and grab objectives that the enemy can't even do anything about. Spring the Trap, blue core, movement of 2, indirect, range 4 attack, 2 attack damage. If the target is in a trap hex, this attack gains +2 strength. And after the attack, if the target is in a trap hex, it suffers stun. Once again, we're looking for trap hexes. Enemy's not going to sound trap hexes on purpose, but of course, if you use any kind of push pulls, whatever, to get them on there, then this card becomes amazing. Indirect fire means you can lob it over a statue. Stun, of course, is also great icing on top of everything. And then, sometimes one of the challenges is going to be get onto trap hexes, and sure, the enemy doesn't want to get on trap hexes when Deryn's around, but they have to, or you're going to get on them. That particular challenge really plays right into Deryn's hands. If you can find a way to push an enemy onto a trap hex, and maybe, and odds are it'll do at least 1 damage, and then you follow up with Spring the Trap. I mean, they're a good chance they're pretty much gone. And finally, we have Hit and Run, yellow core, movement of 3, indirect range 2, and then over 2 damage, and after the attack, dash 2. So this is a pretty mobile attack. So that's Deryn, very mobile, quite a bit of damage potential, can help your other targets get through defense, and pretty useful all around. Once she's leveled up, she's great at holding the red zone, but she is fairly delicate, so you got to keep an eye on that. And that concludes this edition of Know Your Champions. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel. I'm committed to getting all these champion videos out, and I hope you've been enjoying them, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.